started this skill builder project back in the beginning of January. It is now the middle of March, and it's finally done. Woof. Now, that being said, my skill builder project was a whiskey cabinet. Now, do not condone the use of alcohol unless you're 21 years of age or older. In which case, you are an adult. You do what you want. But if anybody's wondering what it would be like to build more or less a one-off whiskey cabinet for the first time, where you're also trying out different techniques you've never used before, thinking that it will go smoothly and according to plan, it won't. It just won't. This thing that I built was the most detail-oriented I think I've been on any project. Really focused on, obviously, my joinery, adding some, we'll say, enticing elements to it. But all in all, I think it was massively worth it. So, I'm sure you guys saw the thumbnail, or some version thereof, of my whiskey cabinet. So, with that being said, this is it. This whiskey cabinet took me months to build, literally. Hours working on this joinery. So, with that being said, I think the person that I have to thank and or blame for this is actually a YouTuber. His name is Eric Curtis. He's a woodworking teacher. His channel is EN Echo November Curtis. They're on YouTube, and I found him, we'll say, pseudo recently, within the past year, and he really strives, as he is a teacher of woodworking and everything like that, and I really resonated with me on his techniques and everything like that. Now, granted, this is similar to a few of the projects that he's done. I've obviously taken some of my own creative liberties with this. Joinery I got from Jonathan Katz-Moses. He's the one who I've seen do the inlay dovetails, which is that nice white outline, which the wood for that is hard maple. And the entire box is made out of black walnut. Now, this thing was 100% we'll say a project that I wanted to do to push my own woodworking boundaries. And it 100% did that. It took me forever to be able to get everything done, solve everything. Now, a lot of people, they like to go to the pen and paper and draw things out and everything like that. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't draw a single thing out. I didn't go off a single plan. This was 100% developed in my head. And maybe things would go smoother and or faster if I had plans of things that I build. But to be honest with you, I kind of like just solving things on the fly, because even if I try to hammer out all the details and everything like that, the second you get into the project itself, because the wood will expand and contract and move and warp and everything like that, you're never going to have a perfect product. And so I'd rather just come into it more or less off the seat of my pants going, hey, this is kind of the idea I'm going for, and build from there. Admittedly, it probably causes me some undue stress and everything like that, but the way this project turned out, I am extremely happy with how it looks. Now, it's not completely done. There's going to be one thing that I add to that, and that's actually you guys. So the one thing that I'm going to add is, and it's something that I think I want to start doing with more of my, or actually with all of my projects moving forward, because I want to allow people to really connect with the pieces that I build, whether it be something that I build for my own home, whether this go to another location. This particular one I plan on putting in our heritage area of where I work, and that way guys can enjoy something absolutely, in my opinion, beautiful, something that I really poured my heart and soul into. But what I want to do is, off of this YouTube video, is I'm going to create a QR code, and I want to burn that QR code into this, and that way if anybody runs into this in the future, whether it be 5, 10, 15 years from now, whatever, they can scan that QR code, and what they're going to see is this video. So this is the video of me creating my whiskey cabinet. Without any further ado, hope you guys enjoy the build. It was 100% a passion project that really pushed the bounds of what I am capable of as a woodworker, and I plan to continue down this road and push myself and stretch myself, not only as a woodworker, but also hopefully designing projects as well. So as I exit the military, I have a firm grasp on what skills I have and what skills I need to develop. So hopefully I can turn this into a full-time career after the military. All right. Thank you guys. Enjoy the video. What is going on to everybody? I will be your narrator for today's video. So now I'm going to go ahead and rough cut everything down. Don't forget to turn on the air filter for all of the sawdust you're getting ready to create. Obviously you guys can see how much sawdust is created there. Alright, now at this point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue those pieces down to a known flat surface, run them through the planer to create myself one flat side. And then after I get all those pieces with one flat side, I'm going to go ahead and send them back through the planer to create a parallel side to that first side. So now I've got two flat sides on on all of my boards. Got to do a little vacuum and clean up. And then at this point in time, now that I've got all those nice flat sides, I'm going to go ahead and start playing with a little bit of grain orientation and figure out exactly how I want these boards to go together. So these two longer boards here, these are going to be my sides. And then we've got these short boards, and those are going to be my tops and bottoms. After I get all that stuff figured out, now I'm going to go ahead and take another known flat surface and run it through the table saw, creating myself a flat edge. And then after I have all of them with one flat edge, then I will go ahead and take them and reference that edge again to create a second flat edge that I can glue them together with. And that's what you're going to go ahead and see here. And get those boards nice and glued up. Got some nice parallel clamps here from Bessie. Do a little glue cleanup and put some cauls on them so they stay nice and flat inside the clamps. Even though I have parallel clamps, I like to take extra insurance to make sure everything comes out nice and flat. Now here I've already cut the edges for my dovetails, and I'm going to come in here with the router to create myself a nice flat base and clear out the majority of the waste. Then I will come in here and get up underneath those dovetails with a chisel to clean out the rest of that waste. After I get all that waste cleaned out, but here on the right hand side, you guys can see I've already done one of these. I'm going to come in with a marking knife, which is a utility knife, and create myself a nice reference surface for me to go ahead and use my Jonathan Katz Moses dovetail jig on with my Japanese pole saw and cut these guys down. And then after I get all of one side cut down, I'm going to go ahead and flip this board around. Because I am right-handed and I'm not ambidextrous, I can't use both my hands with the saw, and cut down with the other ones. After I'm done with that, I'm going to cut this guy off to about 1/8 of an inch and finish all that stuff up. After I get all those dovetails done, I'm going to start working on my doors. And so same thing, right now I'm just going and doing a scrub plane across all these guys, get them relatively flat, then to take them over to the jig that I have and flatten them out the rest of the way. After I'm done with all that milling process, now that I've got these doors all milled up, I'm going to go ahead and put a rabbet into these guys, so as the doors close I've got a slight overlap. And you can see here, haven't quite got it dialed in. Got to raise that blade up a little bit, and there we go. Now we got it all dialed in, so when the doors close, I've got an overlap and you won't see any light. Yeah. After I'm done with all that, then we're going to go ahead and add some texture to the front of these doors by adding some waves into it, which creates a nice little feature on it. Wait a second. Oh, hey. Hey guys. So if you guys couldn't tell by that, I don't have tattoos all over my arms. I have a little bit, but not all the way down, definitely not on the hands. So that particular individual that you saw working on these doors, his name is Joshua Melching, and he actually runs War's End. So, fellow United States Air Force veteran. He is retired. He is actually the one who helped me with this, and he actually creates some really cool projects. So I highly recommend you go check him out on Facebook. He goes by his name, Joshua Melching. He also has his website with cool shirts. Additionally, he does the flags that are textured with the waves and everything like that on them that he sells. He is a huge proponent and a massive help to the veteran community. I highly recommend you check him out. I highly recommend you go over to his page, give him a like. I believe right now he's actually doing a giveaway. Additionally, he just dropped his shirts down from $25 to $20 because he's trying to clear out some stock and get some new stock in so he can do whatever he's doing. But absolutely wonderful individual. I absolutely love him. I was deployed with him in 2014 time range. Absolutely amazing individual and great for the veteran community. So if you're a veteran or if you just like supporting veterans, I highly recommend you go check him out. He is an amazing individual and he helped me out with this. I couldn't have completed this to this degree without him, so I owe him a huge debt of gratitude. So please go over, check his business out. He's an amazing individual. Back to the video. Alrighty, and back to our feature. Here I'm just using a scrap board to create myself a nice little block. I'm going to go ahead and create these grooves, also known as dados or stopped dado in this case. I'm marking out the total length here, and these are for my shelves on the inside of my cabinet. Just kind of walk right on up and touch that line. After I'm done with that, I have to create my tenons on my shelf. And so here I'm just using a scrap board up against my fence, so I've got plenty of space there. And then I'm going to go ahead and chisel off the first inch so it completely hides that dado and nobody will ever see it. After that, we get to the fun part. Now, I don't have a bandsaw, so for me resawing boards, I get to go through some of it with my table saw, and then I get to sit here and hack at it with a handsaw for, an hour or two. After I get all that nice and cut down, now we're going to go ahead and join these two pieces together so they are book matched. And so for this, instead of me trying to use clamps or anything like that on these small pieces, I'm just going to go ahead and use some blue tape, get the seam nice and tight here on one side, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold this guy up and let it rest inside of the miter slots on my table saw. I'll go ahead and squeeze a little glue here into the seam. Make sure I use my finger to push all that glue around and make sure I got all those surfaces covered. Clean up all my glue, squeeze out real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my blue tape and put some clamping force here on the top side, which is plenty strong enough to go ahead and make sure these panels never come apart again. Alright, now that we got that blue tape cleared off and everything's dry, we're going to go ahead and sand away all that extra glue that I have there as my front door panel tries to run away on me. You guys can now see how those dovetails turned out. As of right now, they are not actually being held by anything more than friction. After I'm done sanding that back panel, now I've got to create a rabbet here on the back side so that way my panel will fit in nicely to the back side of my cabinet. And then we're going to go ahead and mortise out some recesses here for my hinges. After I'm done creating those mortises for those hinges, now I'm going to go ahead and create some custom handles. Now here I wanted some nice beefy handles on this whiskey cabinet, make it look real rustic. So here I'm going to go ahead and set the saw blade at 45 degrees. My first cut was a little bit shallow, it didn't give me enough what I felt for getting my fingers there behind the handle. And so here you can see I'm taking off considerably more and using those push blocks, make sure I keep all them digits away from the big sharp spinny metal object. And let's go ahead and attack my miter gauge here with the saw blade. Alright, this is our first look at what the finished product is going to look like. So I'm using a little bit of water here that's going to help the grain stand up as I go through my sanding process. That way, as soon as I put my finish on, I won't have any surprises with grain standing up and it not turning out completely smooth for me. So my sanding process includes going from 150 to 220. I did start a little bit lower grit. I think I actually started with a 120 on the doors just because they did go through that little blades for carving out these nice wavy features that we have here. And so I think I went 120, 150, and 220 here on the door panels. Everything else I just went ahead and did 150 and 220 on. After I got those doors in that back panel completely sanded down, now it's time for me to turn my attention over to the cabinet itself. As I said, it's just being held together right now by friction, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this guy apart so I can start the sanding process on all this, which definitely makes later on, after the cabinet is all together, way easier because it's already all sanded for me. So my main goal right now with me taking this thing apart is keeping everything in the proper orientation. So I'm putting everything in specific spots. So I've got my left and right panels there on the left and right side. my shelves, top and bottom, and then the top and bottom of the cabinet. And then I get to start the sanding process of this. Started out with the wrong sandpaper there, so you can see I've got both my sandpapers here on the top of your screen now, as well as those custom handles up there. And so I'm just going 150 to 220 on these because they did come off pretty smooth off the planer and off my other milling process. So my goal here, and I probably went a little bit longer than I really needed to here on all the sanding, but it did take forever. But my goal here was making sure that everything was absolutely perfect, so when I did put the finish on, I didn't have any surprises and I didn't have to resand, especially knowing full well that after I got this thing together, it was going to be a pain to take apart, and those glue surfaces after I get this thing together were not coming back apart. So I took my time here. After I got everything sanded down and made sure I had everything the correct orientation and put back together, I took this side off, putting glue here between all of my pins for the dovetails, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab the side panel here in just a second, and we'll go ahead and fit the tails into the pins of these inlay dovetails. After I got everything glued up together, got to check everything for square, make sure everything's good to go. And then time to glue on those custom handles that I got. Glue tried to make these things walk on me a little bit, so it was a little bit difficult making sure that I got it set in the right spot for me. After all that glue set up on the cabinet, I'm going to go ahead and come back through with a card scraper and clear out any of that glue squeeze out that we had in here. I had a little bit of a pool right there, so I went at it with the chisel, cleaned that up nicely, and now you can't even see it. And everybody's favorite part, putting on some finish. Man, just watching that grain come to life is absolutely amazing. So I've seen lots of YouTubers and whatnot use that card scraper trick. To be honest with you, I didn't much care for it. I just went ahead and grabbed my white Scotch Brite pad. There we go. Words are hard today. But anyways, went ahead and just started using just the Scotch Brite pad, and that seemed to work out much better for me. So as I'm working through all these pieces, just scrubbing that hard wax oil. So this particular finish is Rubio Monaco, pure, and so it doesn't add any tint or anything like that to it. It just helps bring out the wood grain. This Rubio Monaco was originally designed for hardwood floors, and so it should stand up to anything that hands and whatnot from grabbing this cabinet, touching it, all that stuff. So shouldn't have a problem there. Make sure I get all my surfaces a good coating of that Rubio Monaco with that Scotch Brite pad. Let it soak in a little bit, and then I come back afterwards with a clean, in this case, paper towel. You can use any type of white rag or any type of rag or anything like that. You're just trying to wipe off the excess so it doesn't pool up on there, because it will become sticky and soft and gummy, and that's definitely not what you want out of your finish. And so I'm just trying to make sure I get into all these tiny little nooks and crannies, especially around those poles. Make sure I don't leave any excess on the surface, because the wood already has all that it needs. And here we go, some pictures of the finished product. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me build this. If you guys are looking for a dovetail video specifically, I have lots of footage of that, and I plan on releasing another video specifically on how I did the dovetails. Well, let's go ahead and get to the outro. Alright guys, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. This piece turned out absolutely amazing. And if you think about it, this is present me talking about past me to future you. It's like crazy inception. But anyways, I digress. this was 100% a passion project. And so I think the thing that I need to do now is, we'll say, tease my next project. So my next project, if you guys haven't checked it out, Crazy Alicorn Creations, that is Mrs. Forebear's page. Highly recommend you check that out. She makes amazing, stand by one, little epoxy projects, and she does memorial projects and everything like that. And so, as you can tell with Spoke B, I'm a big Bruins fan. Additionally, I grew up with my mother calling me Bear, and so Bear's just always really related to me. And Mrs. Forebear made me this. And so this is just a tiny little epoxy bear that appears to be sleeping, which definitely makes sense for me. But my next project, because we moved to San Antonio, we got rid of our old desk. It was a Office Depot particle board desk that they just don't last. And so again, that is one of the things that I really want my business to do, is create lasting furniture that, for military individuals, can move from at least one house to another without breaking. And so what I've seen is a lot of the particle board stuff, the second it gets a little bit of stress, aside from it just sitting in one spot, they break. And so we will be making a really nice tabletop out of some hackberry that I have sitting over here on the side, and then I will be making the base out of, and can't believe I'm saying this, but it's going to be white oak. The reason why I say that is, if anybody here follows the Bourbon Moth Woodworking, that is literally his favorite wood. I've never played with it before. This will be my first time dabbling with white oak. I've played with red oak, didn't have a problem with it, but from what I understand, the main reason why people like white oak over red oak is red oak has more of an open grain as opposed to white oak, which has more of a closed grain. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, that's my next project, and I will be starting that here within the next day or two, or at least that's the goal. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful day, evening, night, morning, whatever it is you guys are having. If it is in the afternoon, go have a whiskey. Have a good one.